thought it couldn't get any better. It does. Welcome to another edition of Wow Word on Wednesday with B&B. I'm your host, John GODBOLT, and my partner is back, and he's here pushing the buttons, making this sound so professional, Bishop Carl E. Brinkley Jr. We got a lot of great things to share with you today, and I'm hoping that you'll lock it in and stay with us for the entire hour. As a matter of fact, stay with us all day long. We got everything, inspiration and information. And as usual, I want to share with you a thought before we get into our topic today. And I know many of you are going to be blessed by this topic. It's going to help you save your money as well. Let me talk with you about secret agent Christians. Matthew chapter 10, verse 33 says, "But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven." Did you notice that when Jesus rose from the dead and he showed his resurrection life, he only showed it to those who hung with him through the crucifixion? Now, we know Peter ran away, but Peter stood with Jesus through all of those things and through all of the different situations. But the real reason is a secret agent Christian doesn't know the resurrection power of God because either they're embarrassed about it, they're ashamed of him, or just ignorant of the confessing him during those difficult times. So you can't be ashamed of Christ before the world and expect to experience the resurrection power of Christ in the time of your need. So you can get to know him in the power of his resurrection if you have fellowship with him, acknowledge him, and stand strong with him during the times of crucifixion. What does that mean? The times you got to deny yourself and stand for him. And these are the days where we must learn to stand for him. So if you stand up for Christ in your relationship with him, guess what? He'll be outstanding with you when you need him. Let's pray. Father, we thank you again for the gift of this day and for the opportunity you've given us to come and to share. Our hearts are that we want to be real for you inwardly and outwardly. So whatever our needs are, we thank you for meeting those needs. And whatever fears and anticipation and anxieties that attacks us, we now thank you for overcoming them, that when we are called to stand firm, we will stand firm in Jesus' name. Amen. All righty. Thank you for joining us on this part. Now, I want to introduce someone to you, Anna Agostini. She's here from First Horizon Bank. Now, I'm going to tell you why she's here, and let me give an introduction of who she is first. Anna is a graduate of FSU. Okay.
Bronco in the house.
She's a Bronco all the way. Okay. And we got so many connections with Federal State. In the early 2000s, she began her career in the financial industry and focused on mortgages way back during the day. The next 5 years of her time, Anna gained all kinds of experiences. As a matter of fact, she's even worked in a little bit of radio. We won't talk about that right now, Anna. But for the last 20 years of her career, she's been in transition with any kind of bank job. If you've been in the bank from A to Z, Anna has covered it. Right now, she is the manager of the McPherson Church Road branch.
Yes, sir.
That's right. We got two branches here in Fayetteville, one on Ramsey Street and one here on McPherson Church Road. That's my bank on McPherson Church Road. And also, if you think about First Horizon, I was looking at some of the numbers here. They have, in 12 states, 407 banking centers. And they have in their total assets somewhere between about $84.4 billion in assets. So it's a personal banking situation, but you also know it's a big time if you need to be big time.
Oh, yes, sir. We like to say small bank hustle with big bank muscle.
That's that term. That's it. I love it. So the reason Anna's here is because sometime a few weeks ago, my wife and I received a letter that looked like it was from Publishers Clearinghouse. As a matter of fact, that's what it said, Publishers Clearinghouse. And it said that my wife and I won $800,000. And they gave us a check that was for $8,000 something. I can't remember the amount that we needed to deposit in the bank. And then they gave us a name to contact once we deposit the check in the bank. They contact this name, this Tom Marciniani. I'm going to call his name out, whoever he is, just in case you get the same letter. And when I looked at it, my wife and I looked at it, and we said, I don't know if this is really real or not. So I said the next day we'll take it to the bank, and all of them, shout out to Stephanie and Shanae and Kathy and who did I miss? Felix, that's right, Felix, my boy. Appreciate all of them. So all three of them were standing at that time. The bank had just opened, nobody was there. I said, guys, I need you. Look at this check. Please tell me. I want to say, please tell me it's real.
Yes, for sure.
For sure. Well, they looked at it. It didn't take them long to say, they did that. So I tell you what, we're going to run it through the system, but we've never seen this. And they did something immediately to let me know that there's a lot of scams out there. And of course, it didn't take, but the next day it was proven to be a scam. But I said, I wanted someone to come on and talk with us. And Anna, thank you, because in our church, we've already had 3 members scammed in our church alone. But you know some things about it that could help us. So let's just talk about how many different kinds of scams are there out there?
Oh, there's a great number, and it continues to rise. And so in your scripture this morning, you talked a little bit about secret agents of Christianity. Unfortunately, these are not good secret agents that are operating out there.
Wow.
And you mentioned acknowledgement. And so acknowledging that these things are out there and being leery and cautious and aware of what those next steps are. Because we're in the banking center day in and day out, we're going to see a lot of that. And so your bank is a trusted source. And just like you did, come in, let's have a conversation about it. And so one thing I know about that scam that you had, there's a reason it's called the get rich quick scheme, right?
Yes.
Because in your head, you had spent that $800,000 that was coming to you. Am I right, Mr. GODBOLT?
Oh, I had all kinds of plans. I mean, Favorite State was going to be in good shape.
Oh, they were, weren't they? But here's what I'll say. You have to be leery of something that gives you something for nothing. And they rely on a popular name. Like you were familiar with Publishers Clearinghouse.
Sure.
That's a known name, right?
Sure.
And you know that that's what they do. They're in the business of giving money out. And they probably sent you that money and said, hey, you need this because we want you to pay the taxes first. Do you want to know what their next step was going to be?
Tell us about it.
Well, they were going to rely on you being an upstanding member of the community, keeping your account in good standing, and then someone like us, because your account is good standing, is going to say, okay, Mr. GODBOLT, those funds are available to you immediately. Well, then what were they going to do? They were going to ask you for that money back.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And before you realized it was a scam, you were going to be down those funds.
And that fund was $8,000. Yeah.
Right. And so if someone is in a situation where they're asked for those funds back, they might be asked for those funds back via wire or, you know, some immediate method that then becomes irretrievable.
Wow.
So if something comes in the mail, especially unsolicited, always be leery and cognizant of that, and just make sure you look at it and bring in an expert to help you determine if those things are real or not.
So you mentioned, we talked about that one because that was my
Yes, sir.
mine
Yes, sir.
get rich quick scheme. But there's, I mean, like imposter scams. We've got romance and friendship scams and check washing stolen mail. I mean, the list goes on.
Oh, yes, sir.
So let's just talk, what does that look like? What does an imposter scam look like?
So an imposter scam, when you really think about it, you might have gotten an email or you might have gotten a phone call that says, I believe even our police departments have gotten hit, and you'll see a little Facebook message that comes up that says, hey, we are not in any way soliciting money for this organization. We have not authorized anybody in that area. Please be leery of this.
Yep.
So that is an imposter scam. That's someone posing to be your bank, a local entity, a major company, and they're asking for funds. And when they ask for those funds, they're really going to be urgent claims. They're going to insist on let's do this right now, right now, right now, because they want to eliminate the opportunity for you to get in contact with that company it through a legitimate phone number, which you'll hear me say often today.
Yeah.
But they will really want you to act quickly. They'll want you to be secret about it, and then come to find out you've given your money to an illegitimate fraudster.
Okay, so if indeed, I'm looking at, there's something I remember somebody at one point coming to your house with even a uniform on, or that sort of thing, and then asking you to give them a bank card, or we'll take that immediately. Is that part of that imposter scam as well?
So what you would want to do is just ensure that it isn't. And you can do that. Typically, they come with badges, or, the company might put out, yes, we have people in the area, or no, we do not have people in the area.
Correct.
Because it's so easy these days. I work a full-time job, and fraudsters work even longer hours than I do.
Right.
So they're constantly finding a different way to get the opportunity to have access to your money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gotcha. So let's talk about this one, the lovers, romance and friendship scam. I never heard of it because I'm in love with the person I've been married to for 53 years. So that wouldn't cross my path. But what is that? What is a romance and friendship scam?
So first of all, congratulations on 53 years. That's a long time these days to be married to someone. And because you're not in it every day, in and out, you might not be privy to something like that or have exposure. But you'd be surprised. There are many people out there on the apps, the dating apps, even out there on social media, just having social media and wanting connection.
Okay.
And so if you're wanting connection, when people connect, if you aren't doing things like ensuring the profiles are accurate or correct, then you are going to maybe deep dive in a little bit quicker than you would in normal dating.
And I just thought about something. I remember someone who met, quote unquote, a person online. They were supposedly in Florida. And as they started getting it going, she had a problem where she needed some money. And he sent the money, did not realize, and he had to wind up going to court over that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What happens is once you've established that connection, then it becomes a little bit easier for them to say, hey, you know what, something's happened. My account's been hacked. I really need to make this payment. I really need to fix my car. Really need to pay my employees, whatever the ruse is of what they do. And because you've never met that person physically, you've never seen them face to face, then you might be a little bit more susceptible because they've already led you up to that story.
Wow.
They've already planted those seeds. They've already got your mind thinking of it. And you think about this, Dr. Godbolt, do you do anything for your wife?
Oh, would I? Yes.
Right. So if you feel that connection, it is very possible that you're going to, say, oh, it won't hurt to do this because guess what? They've also promised they're going to pay you back. And by the time that happens, well, you've already sent them the money. And then it becomes harder to recover. And that's why your friend had to go to court.
Yeah. So let's take one of these. I don't know what category it fits in. I remember recently where a grandmother thought she was talking to her grandson or granddaughter on the phone, please send me some money. And the grandmother just immediately sent it, only to find out that it was some kind of AI voice situation, and she sent the money through a scam, and it was not her grandson or granddaughter, but the voice that she heard was.
So you know that they say that AI technology is moving at the speed of light. And so as that is, remember I told you fraudsters work harder than I do. They're also working to utilize AI technology and incorporate that in their scams.
Okay.
When you really think about it, think about the places that you might leave your voice imprint and not even realize it. And so now they could have gone on social media, gotten your voice off of a video. You don't even think about those things. They could have gotten it off of your voicemail and used it to create and duplicate a clip so that they can target those family members for those requests and find, of course, I don't know about you and your grandbabies, but my son is very spoiled by his grandparents. Abundantly blessed is what I called it, in a good way. And so they would do anything for him, and that's what they're banking on. They're banking on those heartstrings pulled and maybe not being so technology savvy so that they can get those funds in an illegitimate way. And 9 times out of 10, that's how they're going to ask for it. They're going to ask for it in a form of payment that you wouldn't even think about.
Wow. So if you just joined us, Anna Goscini is here with us from First Horizon Bank. We're talking about different scams and email accounts and how to protect them. We're going to get into more of that shortly. I told her the hour runs fast when we're on the radio, but it's okay. We'll make it work. So, Anna, let's talk some more, if you will, about there's one called check washing from stolen mail. What is that?
Well, so this one you often don't realize that you've been a victim of until it's hindsight 2020.
Really?
Yes, sir. Because what happens? Your paper statement comes in the mail. Oftentimes that's a delayed. They are actually banking on you reviewing just your paper statements that come every 30 days, right? We have to send you one monthly. Right. Well, by that time, they could have washed 2 or 3 checks, sent it to their friends, and those friends are going into the bank trying to cash them. That check you made for your tithes that you mailed because you weren't going to church that Sunday, or that one check that you sent to the credit card company to pay your credit card. What they've done is they've removed the payee, and they do it very good. You have to be really good at spotting some of these. Okay. And they bring it into the bank, and now it says, Mr. So-and-so is payable, not to the $50 credit card payment, but now to the $5,000 credit card.
Wow.
Payment, and it's no longer the credit card, it's payable to them. And I know when you come into the bank it may seem like we ask a lot of questions, but that's why we ask them, because we've gotten very good at identifying when a check is real, when it isn't. We've been doing it for quite some time, and we're actually trained to catch those things. Doesn't mean we're perfect and we're going to catch it every time. Sure. But we work really hard to catch that up on the front end.
I remember getting a call. I had someone do some work for me, and it was pretty extensive. And I wrote them a check, and they came straight to the bank to cash it. I got a call immediately from the bank saying, did you? I said, yes, I did. And I said, thank you so much for being that aware of the possibility. And I know it's tough for some people, but that's why some people say, I don't write checks. I just go through my checking credit card, my debit card.
Well, the second half of that scheme, and actually the post office has put out a lot of messages around that, is that sometimes people are coming in and stealing mail, and that's how they're getting your information. They're relying on the non-use of electronic methods to then go in there. Because think about all of the parts of a check. That check has your account number. That check has your home address. We even advise people these days, if you order checks, we're not going to put your license number on there. We're not going to put your phone number. And those are just small attempts at safeguarding yourself so that information isn't readily available and you get away with everything on that little piece of paper.
Wow. And I remember the days when you would see checks. Everything was on there. Their social security number, their driver's license. We were trying to make sure that you don't have to ask us for anything. Now we can't put anything on there but maybe, a post office box.
I do recommend a post office box, actually.
Wow. So there's another called package delivery and account lock phishing. What in the world is that?
So actually, those are very similar kinds of scams. When you look at it, they are attempts to gain entry into your confidential information. Oftentimes, you're going to open up your email and you're going to see, I want a Yeti, or your subscription is about to expire and you need to click on this link immediately. Have you ever taken a good look at those emails?
Yeah.
There's something a little off about them, am I right?
Yes.
Maybe some of the spelling is incorrect. Maybe it looks photoshopped. Well, think about the legitimate companies. Are they going to look like that?
Exactly. Wow. It's amazing. We got a couple of minutes. Let me ask you about this one called the gift card payment demands. What is that? Help us out.
In all of these scams, remember you said, oh, the grandson asked the grandma to send money.
Yes.
He probably said, hey, send me a gift card, right? Well, guess what? That gift card is how they do it without the ability to be traced, and also minimal recovery. So, yeah. So if you go and they say, let's say, for instance, the one that you had, if they said, oh, we want that back in gift cards, send us the gift cards. That's the easiest way. Well, you're not thinking about it. You go to Walgreens or any other store that sells these gift cards, the Amazon, the Visa ones, and you go, okay, the next step is they'll say, send me a picture. And when you send them a picture, you've just given them all access. They move those funds over to their own personal use, but there's no trace.
Wow.
There's no trace, making it that much harder to recover it. Another form that they might ask for is any electronic money movement. So you always be leery of people that ask you to send it and you don't know them, you haven't met them. Think about this. If you're making a payment to a legitimate company, are they going to ask you to send them a gift card?
Right.
Is there a more traceable way to send them the funds? Believe it or not, cash is easily compromisable these days, because if you send cash, you're not recovering that in any way, shape, or form. And I have some very wise individuals who have unfortunately been victim of these things as well. And as much as we try to educate them, some people want to learn on their own.
Yeah, two of the people that I know were scammed were widows, and they caught them at that time when they were thinking it was something that was happening. Hey, listen, we also just got a call in from a dear grandmother who called in. She said she was a victim of a scam as well. Isn't there something? So we got people who are really being affected right here in our area.
Yeah.
And we got to take a break.
Okay.
It's coming up on us quick, and we're going to push some buttons, and we will be back to talk more with Anna Agostini. Try it again, from First Horizon Bank, as we talk about scams and protecting you.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
be right back.
In breaking news this morning, North Carolina Republican Congressman Chuck Edwards says he will abandon his re-election bid after claims of harassment. The House earlier this week recommended he be censored after finding he engaged in persistent, unprofessional, and inappropriate conduct with two young female aides. Governor Stein says he plans to veto House Bill 958, which would cut the voting for primaries and early voting for runoffs from 17 days to 10 days. Virginia Democrats picked establishment candidates to take on Republican incumbents in two congressional districts they hope to flip in November. U.S. job openings fell slightly in June, but the labor market continued to show resilience. Employers posted 7.36 million vacancies in June, down from 7.54 in May. Thousands of power losses in Durham last night after a tree fell at 1.7 thousand without power. Tony Rixby, NC.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. It is almost time to head back to school. Check immunizations off your list by taking advantage of back-to-school immunization clinics. There's a free bag of produce and snacks for the first 50 families at each on-campus school event. The city of Fayetteville proudly recognized the leadership, faculty, and staff of Bill Hefner Elementary School for their exceptional service to students and the community. The mayor presented a proclamation to the principal in recognition of her commitment to education and community. Firefighters at the Fayetteville Regional Airport joined family and community members recently in honoring Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton as he was returned home to his family. Sergeant Swinton paid the ultimate sacrifice on July 19th, 2026, while serving in D Battery, 2nd Battalion, 55th Air Defense Artillery Regiment, 108th Air Defense Artillery Brigade. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
Happy Wednesday. It's once again a very warm and muggy start with temperatures in the 70s. We'll see highs reaching into the mid to upper 80s as we head into the afternoon. Showers and storms look to be very hit or miss today and fizzling out overnight as we see a clear sky, patchy fog, and temperatures once again in the 70s overnight. Scattered storms mainly after 2 p.m. heading into Thursday with highs 85 to 90 degrees. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the NCN Weather Center.
Angelic Florist Creations, 442 Hillsborough Street, Fayetteville, is family-owned and operated, proudly serving the Fayetteville area. Whatever the occasion, Angelic Florist Creations can create a floral arrangement or gift for any occasion or holiday. Angelic Florist Creations has prompt, friendly, and caring service. If you want to say you care, you can always say it with flowers from Angelic Florist Creations, 442 Hillsborough Street, Fayetteville. Call 910-485-2205.
Happy Wednesday. It's once again a very warm and muggy start with temperatures in the 70s. We'll see highs reaching into the mid to upper 80s as we head into the afternoon. Showers and storms look to be very hit or miss today and fizzling out overnight as we see a clear sky, patchy fog, and temperatures once again in the 70s overnight. Scattered storms mainly after 2 p.m. heading into Thursday with highs 85 to 90 degrees. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the NCN Weather Center.
If you have been injured in a motor vehicle collision, you should understand that the insurance company is not on your side. It is the adjuster's job to get by with paying you as little as possible. Call personal injury trial lawyer Brent Adams now for a free no-obligation consultation. Call now, 910-888-8888. Don't hesitate. Call 8. At Brent Adams & Associates, we make things right.
You ever notice how most helpful information always seems to show up just a little too late? Like, oh, the deadline was yesterday. Or,
you know you could have saved money if you've done that earlier.
Timing matters. With smart timing, you can lower your energy costs by running appliances like washers, dryers, and dishwashers outside of peak hours. And by adjusting your thermostat just a few degrees higher between 3 and 6 in the afternoon, you can save even more. It's a simple shift that helps reduce strain on the energy grid, supports a more sustainable future, and keeps power reliable for everyone in our community. Because at Fayetteville PWC, we're committed to being environmentally responsible, dependable, and deeply invested in the place we all call home. Timing matters, and smart timing means savings. Learn more at startsaving at faypwc.com.
Back and live with Anna Agostini from First Horizon Bank, and we're talking about fraud, we're talking about scams, we're talking about now how to recognize one and how you can be sure that you are safe with your funds. Again, if you have comments or you want to call in, we'd love to hear from you. Maybe you know something about it personally, and we want to share with you some ideas, or you want to encourage our friends who are listening to make sure that they are not being scammed. Off the air, we mentioned something. We had a member of our church, former member of our church, who worked at the police department. She called me one day and said, "You won't believe the number of students from FSU that are in line here trying to file a police report because they were scammed." And I asked you off the air, what would a college student be doing down there with a scam situation? So,
well, I'll tell you this. It's really, really easy to kind of believe that only the elderly fall for scams like this because maybe they're not as technologically savvy. But there are things out there that are getting from young to old. They may be clicked on a link or maybe sent some money, or maybe when it comes to our college age students, they thought it was something for financial aid, something applicable to the college. You have to think about how much information you're putting out there into the online universe. And so if something were to happen, like a breach, a data breach, you've heard many companies say, hey, your information could have been compromised.
Yeah.
That's what they're using to in turn reach out to anyone and getting their information and having them then be a victim of some kind of scam.
So you mentioned too consolidation. What is that a way to make them think?
Well, I have a family member who, we're in the middle of COVID, and she's like, my student loans are going to come up and I want to try to, get them resolved and paid or consolidated. And so she clicked on a link because during that time it was nothing to do all this online stuff and not be face to face with a person. And think about the information a loan requires. It requires you to input all of your information in there.
Yes.
And it wasn't until a little bit later she realized this is not legitimate. After she saw the charge on her bank account.
Oh, wow.
So thankfully we were able to get that all shut down by following a few easy steps. And I believe, the best advice that I can give anyone is you got to act fast and you got to start making the wheels move to stop that fraud ASAP.
Awesome. So let's talk about some of those. If fraud happens, how should we respond to this?
So really, timing does matter, and this is where technology can work in your favor.
Okay.
You think about, I work 9 to 5 in a banking center, but we do have our services that are available around the clock. You can file disputes and claims and even review your account to see if there's something that's happened right there online.
Okay.
Go to the website, find the legitimate company phone number, and then make that call and get the process started for those things. You really want to just ensure that your accounts are secure, and there's never too many steps that you can take. If they know a lot of my personal information, that's why they tell you, change your username, change your password. Don't use the same password on every site. Those are just some quick and easy facts that can help you.
Okay.
If I asked you, Dr. GODBOLT, if I said, hey, do you have multi-factor authentication on your accounts? 1, would you know what I'm talking about? And 2, do you have that?
Yes and yes.
Okay,
For
good.
me personally, because I saw that and it really works. Even the back of things like who's your wife's maiden name or your mother's maiden name, or once you put something in, there's a situation where they'll call your phone and put these 6 numbers in, and then they'll go to another level. I said, I'll follow you, because it makes such a difference when you know you're safe that way.
Well, how many times have you thought you lost your phone?
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
And so if you were to set your phone down or it get gone and you don't have that extra level of protection, you have your banking app on your phone.
Yeah.
You have a lot of your stuff on your phone. And here you have thinking, oh, it's convenient for me, or, oh, that's a lot of letters and numbers and words and symbols to remember for my password. Let me just make it easy and save all this information. Well, trust me, there are many ways they can get into your phone, even if it's not lost. But if it's lost, it's that much easier because they're not having to do that multi-factor authentication.
Okay.
Or if they're hacking in remotely from an area, and they say, a lot that we're hearing right now is they'll say, hey, I sent you a code, give me that information. Well, typically we're not going to ask for that information, especially not your bank, unless you've already been verified in another manner. And you're going to give us that information. We're not going to give it to you. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
I'm not going to call you and say, hey, you're so-and-so. I'm going to say, hey, you're going to call in, and we're going to be like, okay, here's your information. I need to know all of these things. It might seem like it's difficult, but it's for your protection.
Give us an idea of, you got a client or someone who's want to reduce the risk. They want to say, you've given us some idea, but how do I make sure that I'm safe? What do I need to start looking at to reduce even that possibility of being scammed or fraud?
So there's a lot of safeguards that you can put in place, and I do a lot of these myself because I have been in real time when I've been seeing someone hack my accounts and trying to get in. So I'm not telling you because I work at the bank. I'm telling you from experience on this one. So how did I know that something was happening? Well, I was getting these alerts. Hey, your username has been changed. Hey, your password has been changed. Most sites can set up alerts that tell you these things are happening, allowing you real-time feedback and implementation of preventables. So when you're looking at that, you remember I told you, you want to act fast because timing matters.
Sure.
Think about if you knew that the minute it's being done, it's less likely that they'll be able to follow all the way through or even move large sums of money. They'll be able to stop that in real time. So I also recommend digital versus paper, because if you're not getting it digitally, then you're waiting 30 days, and by then they could have already done extensive damage to your accounts. I encourage account review on a regular basis. My son has his first bank account. And so one of the rules I told him is, I said, okay, well, you have to start looking at this account every couple of days. He's like, well, Mom, I don't spend a lot on it. It's not like I might put gas in my car every once in a while. And I said, I understand. I said, but fraudsters are a lot quicker than you. And so you want to make sure that, one, the companies are charging you correctly. They're not double charging you or charging you in excess of. You want to make sure also that there's nothing suspicious looking on your accounts. So those are just a few of the ways that you do that.
So if I click on a link, I'm going to look at that now.
Okay.
It looks suspicious. I click on the link, but I don't realize it. Let me give you an example. I was looking at YouTube while I was working out, and there's this thing floated down saying that your something is full, and we need to clean your phone, and you need to clean your phone up or something. And it looked the way it floated down, but I almost hit it. Then I realized, why would YouTube know about my phone? So
Yes,
I
sir.
immediately deleted it. But if that could have gotten inside of my phone, those kinds of things, how do I make sure anybody to be safe on the situation?
Well, you did the right first step, right?
Yeah, okay.
You did not continue.
Correct.
If you, at the moment that you think, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, stop.
Gotcha.
That's the first one. And the second one is, whatever company sent you that, go online and see if it's legitimate, or go to the legitimate website and then get information from there. Those are just a few of the steps that you can do for that.
Right.
Again, multi-factor authentication, we talked about what that is, and that would be a really good safeguard in those, because you're going to want to start monitoring your accounts on a more regular basis to ensure that no additional things were to happen. And then, if you feel like, this happens so much, there's monitoring services. Again, the alerts on your account, there's credit monitoring. You can always take it to a legitimate computer expert, someone who is licensed to do that kind of work, and they can help you clear some of those things on your phone, computer, different things like that.
So someone's sitting here thinking, that's too much work for me. I can't do all of that. So what would you say to them if they say that? I can't do all those things. What do you say to them?
What is the saying? An ounce of prevention is worth all of the back. I mean, it's more work if you're actually a victim of that theft.
Yeah.
You have to come in or call the bank or file a dispute anyways. And then, think about this. It's not an immediate rectification. In some cases, it can take 7 to 10 business days. I've had to tell clients, this can take a year to resolve. And so whatever they've compromised, although there are timelines set in place, or maybe you didn't notice it. Let's say this happened at Christmas and we're now in the middle of June and you didn't notice it until just now. Well, we've passed the time for you to be able to file a claim or get those funds back. So it may seem like a lot of work on the front end, but again, it can save you a ton on the back end.
It sounds like, and an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, I think the term is.
Oh, yes, sir. There you go.
But it sounds like this is something that's happening so often that we don't think it'll happen to us.
Well, you think about this. You think about it this way. I'm in the banking industry, so I'm in it day in and day out.
Right.
Just like the doctor who's at the doctors, and they're seeing these things happen day in and day out, but they're the experts. And we work hard to educate ourselves and stay one step ahead and put those measures in place, constantly revamping so that we can identify those things and help keep you safe as a client of the bank. So consult the expert, get the information where the information would typically come from.
Sure. You mentioned when we first started about the scams are now escalating and more. Why and what's happening that we're seeing more and more scams?
A lot of it is technology. Things are moving very, very quickly. And the difference between them and us is they have nothing but time and we're busy with our lives.
Okay. Some years ago, Christmas Day, I remember being at home just relaxing because we had already had breakfast, eating with my grandkids and kids, and I came to the house for a little while. My wife was someplace else, and I sat down for a minute, and I get this call, and I see First Horizon, and it says, "Are you in Mexico?" I said, "No, I'm at home. Someone is trying to get into your account." And I remember when I closing. It was a email account. I closed an email account that was being used back on those days, talking with the guy. And out of the conversation, he asked me for a number. And I was just talking. Without even thinking about it, I gave him this number on some account. It must have been my bank account. Well, he sold it to somebody.
Yes, sir.
And it was in Mexico. But the bank caught it. They didn't get one dime because they were on top of it.
Well, we work hard to review and see maybe what we consider out of pattern activity.
Yeah.
And sometimes that prompts that alert to come through.
Okay.
And then, sometimes, if they're just attempting to put that information in, they'll put in a wrong number and that will trigger that. If you have those alerts set up on your account, which I highly recommend, is a great way to do that. You would have saw that, but also if it's out of pattern, the bank might reach out to you and say, confirm that you did this purchase. Confirm that you did this. They might do that via text, via phone call. And when they do that, you just have to tell them yes or no, and that will dictate the next steps, and they should give you the right recommendation accordingly.
Well, Anna, we only have about 5 minutes, so let's kind of walk through this. I tell you, it goes fast. I want to see, from your perspective, what would you say, if we summarize this now in the last few minutes, what would you say the steps we ought to take to make sure that our neighborhood is safe?
Yes, sir. Well, again, education, knowledge is power. It's the one thing I say all the time.
Yeah.
So in the first half of this, we talked about several scams that are out there. The internet also has information on that. You can come talk to me if you feel like you're a victim of a scam. I'm more than happy to go through it with you and let's look and see and explore to see if that is. We also have various sources that we utilize to confirm whether or not it's a scam, such as your case, right?
Right.
So remember that speed does help you. When we're looking at that, you really want to be aware and be cognizant, and if you think it's suspicious, report it. Right?
Okay.
Let us know. We want to know so that, again, we can look and we can ensure and we can look at the trends and then escalate that up to our partners as well so they can keep an eye out.
Okay.
Just like you said, you shared a lot of your confidential information, and unfortunately that's what they're banking on, that you're busy, that it's a busy season in your life or just a time that's inconvenient or something where you're vulnerable when you're going to do that. So you don't want to necessarily share during that time, and you don't want to act fast in those instances. You'll say, okay, I'll call my bank, or okay, I'll call this person or whoever that company is, and call on a number that you've researched. Make sure that it's a legitimate phone number to that company, and your online resources can help you a lot with that.
Never share that multi-factor authentication, right? Why would you do that? Because that's your sole access. That's your protection to getting into those accounts. So you don't want to share it with anyone. And when in doubt, stop. Stop. And find a legitimate source or ask, or, there's nothing ever that has that much sense of urgency that's going to require that much attention and or require you to send, gift card here or there, or cryptocurrency or a wire without having a legitimate purpose.
I'm just thinking about the two of the people I know who were scammed. Both of them were widowers at that time, and someone took advantage of that. Are we more susceptible in a time of need, like you said, I'm looking for romance, or I just had a loss, these kind of things? Should we be more aware or get some buddies to help us with those?
We might be more susceptible during times of what we would call vulnerability or weakness, or, like where your guard is a little bit more down. On an everyday basis, not so much, right? We're going to be like, oh, that doesn't seem right, and we're going to stop. But if you have a lot coming at you at one time, it can be very easy to forget the simple steps and then think, oh, I should be doing this.
Now it came back to me when we were talking. This guy already had the number of the credit card. He asked me for the PIN number.
Oh, no.
That's what it was. And I was just talking to him, and he said, what's the PIN? And I gave it in the conversation as he was talking about some place we had been traveling. And that's...
Never, sir.
Never even realized that I had done that.
So I know in our bank, I have nowhere where I could find your PIN. If you forgot your PIN, I couldn't tell it to you if I wanted to. You would want to ensure that you always keep that information confidential.
Okay. Anna, you have been such a blessing to us. Anything you want to... We got so much stuff we could have gone over. Is there anything you want to share with our audience before we get out of here, because we got about a minute or so?
Well, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come on and educate our audience about the pitfalls of fraud. I'm more than happy to talk with any of them. I'm at First Horizon Bank on McPherson Church Road.
Hey guys, you got to come and bank with my friends at First Horizon. and I don't know about Ramsey Street. I know they're great folk, but I got super people on McPherson Church Road.
Thank you so much, sir.
Great group of folks. So listen, and again, thank you so much. Have a great day. And to our audience, remember, the only thing the evil needs to try